So in other words, the times that we're in right now, we supposed to be waking up.
Son Yahshua.
In the previous episode, we have managed to prove how the Israelites were scattered among all nations, precisely as prophesied in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 68. The scriptures clearly declare that God's people would be enslaved again by slave ships. This prophecy has been validated by historical evidence confirming the abduction of Israelites who arrived on the shores of both the East and Western worlds. Sadly, such crucial information is deliberately ignored or omitted from modern religious institutions, aka the church. The question is, why is that? Now, despite being hidden under various names like the Bantu, Negro, or blacks, prophecy could not be stopped. The Israelites will rise and be restored as a nation, and there is absolutely nothing anyone can do about that. Now, if you have been diligently following along, you will recall that in the last episode, we did not fully unpack the prophecy concerning God's people being enslaved. Let's now explore this scripture further and determine what it truly entails. As it is written, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 68 from the KJV. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Wait a minute. And no man shall buy you. What does this mean? How can the prophecy above this one say, you will be sold to your enemies as slaves, then turn around and say, no one is going to buy you? Those who may be without understanding may believe that the scriptures contradict themselves at this point. However, if you have no understanding of the God of Israel and his Torah, i.e. his laws, then it'll be very difficult to understand this prophecy. Let's break this down and get understanding. Let's see what the term buy means in this prophecy. Interlinear Concordance H7069, Kana, which means to buy or possess. However, the Strong's definition gives context to this particular passage, and it reveals that the word kana can also have a different meaning, such as recover or redeem. This definition fits the context of scripture perfectly, and I will explain why later. First, what is the definition of redeem? Redeem is defined as to buy back or repurchase, to save someone, to free from captivity by payment of ransom, to gain or regain possession of something in exchange for payment. So, by definition, the scripture states, and no man will buy you. It's simply saying no one will redeem you or save you from this slavery. Please keep that in mind. Now let's explain the context of and no man shall buy you with the help of the scriptures. The Israelites have a law that says when a Hebrew man is sold or if he sells himself to a stranger, aka a Gentile, then there are strict laws that are in place that those of other nations must acknowledge prior to agreement of services. As it is written, Leviticus chapter 25, verses 47 through 49 in the New King James Version. We're going to be breaking these verses down, so please guys pay close attention. Quote, now if a sojourner, which is a temporary resident or visitor, let's continue, or stranger, now what is a stranger? A foreigner or non-native resident living among the Israelites. Okay, let's continue. Close to you becomes rich, and one of your brethren who dwells by him becomes poor. Now, what is this referring to? Brethren means a fellow citizen of the tribes of Israel. Let's continue. and sells himself to the stranger or sojourner close to you, or to a member of the stranger's family, verse 48, after he is sold, he may, listen to this, he may be redeemed again. One of his brothers may redeem him, there goes that word redeem, verse 49, or his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or anyone who is near of kin to him in his family may redeem him, or if he is able, he may redeem himself. Here's another scripture that reinforces the biblical context surrounding the customs of the Israelites and how they practice redeeming one another from contracts involving servitude to a master or mistress. As it is written, Exodus chapter 21 verses 7 through 8. And if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave or servant, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who is betrothed her to himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. There it is again, or repurchased. That's what that means. What did you just learn? Well, for starters, we learned why it's very important to read in context without skipping books, chapters, or historical background. Secondly, in real time, we notice that all of these scriptures are congruent and have one thing in common. That is, the nation of Israel was very familiar with the concept of redeeming or saving their relatives from contracts involving servitude. And so, in biblical context, according to the prophecy in Deuteronomy 28 verses 68, the correct interpretation of scripture should now be thoroughly understood. The information in Leviticus chapter 25 verses 47 through 49 and Exodus 21 verses 7 through 8 shows that 1, the Israelites were capable of being sold for services, and 2, they could be saved or redeemed by family members. Therefore, this is why Moses said, "And no man shall buy you," aka save you from this slavery. I hope that makes sense. And just a reminder, servitude in Israel, according to the regulations provided in the Torah, was no different than your regular 9-to-5 careers that you may possess in regards to service. For example, the Hebrews of the Bible were known to practice indentured servitude, such as our father Isaac, son of Abraham, who labored 14 years in order to claim his wife Rachel. As it is written, Genesis chapter 31 verses 41. And this is Isaac speaking. Quote, "Thus have I been 20 years in your house. I serve you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your cattle. And you have changed my wages 10 times. Do you see the comparison? Isaac's hard work was rewarded with cattle, wives, and even an increase in salary. These resources were essential to creating wealth, prosperity, and a self-sustainable way of life. But in America, our ancestors were forcibly worked beyond human imagination. And for their hard work, what did they get? Beat, raped, mocked, murdered, and dehumanized on all levels. And so, when somebody tries to tell you, oh, slavery was in the Bible, to excuse or dismiss their demonic tendencies, you now have ammo to blast at their stupidity. Let's continue. Now, there have been many influential black prominent figures throughout history that tried to save the so-called black man from oppression, injustice, inequality, discrimination, genocide, and much more. However, all attempts were failures and became recognized as unsuccessful. Why? Because the Lord said that no one will save you from this slavery except the black Messiah, Jesus the Christ, when he returns to kill and wage war against the nations for their crimes against his people. Again, Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses 68 gives us a look into the past concerning the judgment against the children of Israel. And as a result, the interpretation can only be read like this. And Yahuwah shall bring thee into slavery again with cargo slave ships. By the way it is spoken unto you, you shall not see your homeland no more again. And there you shall be sold to your enemies for slave men and slave women. And no man shall save you from this slavery. The Gentiles knew perfectly well how vital it was to keep us lost and unaware of ourselves. No other ethnic group or nation in history has ever been shipped across the entire earth as slaves. This prophecy clearly applies to one group of people, the Negroes, also known as the Israelites.
The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. The heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Does that 2 Peter 5, truth never die.